Summit's first split in the LCS was dominant. He was the best player in the league.
He's ready to go, and he will just eviscerate.
He would routinely win games by himself. He'd solo kill multiple times. He'd kill their turret.
Oh,
Flashes for it, throws him into the wall.
But then, in playoffs, when that didn't happen, he went 0-8, and he was out of league.
At it again here, Summit gonna get knocked up. Impact with the combo.
After he smashed everyone, all teams start playing tank champion versus Summit to survive. When enemy teams are trying to just only survive, like, it's not easy to beat them unless you're actually really good.
He often gets massive advantages and then can kind of do whatever he wants in the game. If he doesn't have an advantage, he still kind of tries to do whatever he wants in the game.
Even with the healing, another chase out. EG find Summit for the 6th time.
Me and Blaber both saw a lot of problems with Summit and felt like he wasn't really changing his playstyle. So we decided to put me back top lane and look for a new mid laner.
I actually think he was like one of our best players on that team. He was like the one creating consistent leads, but he was also one of the players that was like throwing his leads, you know, or like dying a ton when he probably couldn't have because he was the carry of that team. So I think that iteration of our roster just wasn't gonna work.
In Houston for the spring finals of Summit's first split, his team Cloud9 had already been eliminated. They were 4th place, but he had won the MVP. So he needs to go to Houston to accept the award. And it was strange because despite such a dominant regular season, their performance in playoffs was so bad that you were already hearing rumors that he might not even be back on the team, which for an MVP had never happened before.
그 파이널 자리에서 받으면서 그 소식 들었을 때 아무래도 나쁜 게 먼저 생각이 났고 그래도 팬들 앞에서는 웃어야 되니까 그래도 최대한 빨리 잊어보자 했고 감정을 좀 숨긴 것 같아요.
His performance impressed me, and then he left the NA. I heard he was the free agent, and I remember when we met in Champions Queue, solo queue, we had a good performance together. Off season was always, you don't know what's gonna happen, but there was one fact stays that we want to play each other if it's possible, and then one day it was possible.
한국에 있을 때 그때 이제 코장전 선수가 코제이 선수가 저한테 연락을 했고 그때 이제 디스코드로 연락을 받았을 땐 이게 되게 기대되고 다시 돌아가는 게 기쁘고 좋은 감정들이 많이 들었어요. 왜 코제이 선수 있는 팀에 가고 싶었냐면 이제 코제이 선수가 탑 로밍을 잘 다녀요. 그래가지고 그게 단순히 좋았고 그리고 원래 잘하는 선수인 걸 아니까.
This guy, I swear, sometimes I feel like the only thing he cares about is winning lane. So I feel like moving to China, going from Cloud9, winning MVP, being back on Team Liquid, he just really, really loves to beat people in lane. So I hope that he's able to simplify it, get rid of all the negative noise, and just focus on what he's good at.
네, 그 말이 맞고, 서밋 있는 곳에서는 이제 탑으로 윈 컨디션 만드는 게 좀 맞고, 되게 저도 나름 강점이 있다 생각하고, 저도 그런 걸 원하는 플레이 방향성을 많이 합니다.
300 HP, 100 HP already dead. Summit just smacks him.
I think Summit is an incomplete player. I think his laning phase is the very best, and I think his team fighting is probably below LCS average. The way he synergizes with his team, the way he can play from a deficit, the way he can frontline, but his strength is so big. It's like Shaquille O'Neal. You wouldn't ask him to shoot threes and guard point guards and make free throws. And I think that's, if Summit's going to succeed, that's how he's going to succeed. He's going to be so incredibly unbeatable in laning phase that you won't be able to stop him.
Their highest chance of beating us would probably be Summit popping off, because that seems to be the way they win a lot of their games. You know, there's some pressure on me to perform. It's fun. I enjoy playing against a player that I feel like I could lose to, and I could just get exposed.
everyone are excited to watch him like carrying extremely hard, right? It's not like I'm gonna just farm for late game, hope my team carry. It's also really exciting for me to play with those styles. I want to create the team that even though he's on some bad time, we can carry. I would like to have him proving that replacing him from the Cloud9 last year was the mistake.
Welcome back. I gotta say, Summit said he joined TL because he liked that CoreJJ roamed top a bit. Yes. I don't think Core has roamed top a single time this split. The man got scammed.
It's so funny. The false promises.
Yeah.
To lure him. What?
Trust me, bro. I'll be there level 2. I'll be there level 3.
I really did like that piece, though, because we got to hear from both Blaber and Fudge, as well as CoreJJ, and it's a story of a really talented player that still finds struggles. And I actually do think when you look at this matchup, like, anytime we've heard Fudge talk about who he thinks the best top laner is, he almost always says Summit, because top laners respect top laners that are good in lane. Right. And even when Summit joined Cloud9, Fudge moved to mid because he was like, I just can't beat Summit in lane. So we'll see if that's still true today.
So everybody else in the game evaluates their top laner as, please just don't feed because your role is irrelevant and we're going to win without you as long as you don't feed. Top laners look at it like honorable battleground of 1v1 and they evaluate who would be better if the jungler didn't exist. I feel like it's a psychological difference between, and honestly, I respect both views. Because if you're an AD carry, you're like, jungler, get down here. What are you doing up there? Come on, man. But if you're a top laner, you know, you got to respect the guy. I like this a lot. By the way, welcome back, everybody. We got Jatt for a try-cast this game. So we're going to have fun here.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you like that piece. You're like, I just loved the caster that was
I really love
great job.
Player in
yeah. That guy, just the thing.
Dude, you realize there's people playing League of Legends now that, like, were not born
that think Zeri is balanced?
The game came out. Like, do you think, how many of them do you think know who Shaquille O'Neal is?
I mean, he's on Inside the NBA every Thursday.
We're talking about Zoomers, man.
I think Shaq is still somewhat relevant.
Okay. I didn't know. I was actually curious about that.
You know Shaquille O'Neal?
Yes, I know Shaquille O'Neal. He's in 1990, man.
Just check
it. You know what we need to do? Is CaptainFlowers needs to make a poll. We need to find out.
Do you know Shaquille O'Neal?
You're only allowed to answer this if you're a Zoomer.
Mods, quick, make a poll before the chat wants to gamba for the who won the draft. All right, we are into the draft now, so let's see what we can get here. Team Liquid was looking real clean there for a little while, but unfortunately have had a bit of a slide, so we'll see if they can get it back. Their work is cut out for them, though, going up against a C9 that has only dropped 1 game so far.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Team Liquid's losing streak on the lounge at the start of the day, and they started the split 4-0, really blowing people out.
Yeah.
And then their last 3 losses have been very close games for the majority, where they then lose in the mid and late game. Part of that is that they've been picking very early game compositions. Another part of that is that's just been their weakness all year, is trying to win close games with good macro.
Yeah, I mean, that has been the problem. It seemed like it kind of got papered over. People had felt that it was fixed in those first 4 games, but when you think back to spring, it was never the early game that there was their problem. It was about the team fighting, it was about the coordination. That had been the big criticism of them. So still some work to do, but clearly some very powerful strengths that TL has also.
And, you know, one of those strengths you would consider to be Pioshik on his signature champion with the Kindred, but this time around, Team Liquid, they don't want to play that in the jungle. They're going to ban it away themselves instead, along with the Jace and the Kai'Sa. It's Kennen, it's Nico, it's Annie, banned out by C9.
LeBlanc.
Team Liquid, yeah, I mean, LeBlanc is open. Static Shiv is still not nerfed on the current patch, so they'll lock that one in for Harry.
We did see Static Shiv LeBlanc in the last game not be able to close the deal, but I understand the pick here because Emenes would definitely take that if Harry didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it does leave Vi available, though. Vi still incredibly high prio these days. It is a really popular pick for Blaber. Does give you some lockdown onto a pretty mobile champion here in LeBlanc. So we'll see if they are going to lock it in, but that is my expectation.
I believe Vi is one of Blaber's worst champions all time. It's definitely the only champion he's lost on this split.
Well,
but
they've only
even
lost
though it's
one
an
game.
Yeah, but and it was with Vi. So and he's won 1 game with Vi, but overall, it's a 33% win rate across 6 games. So it's not super well played, but it's definitely one that's been powerful and that he hasn't necessarily performed on.
Well, gonna get another chance at it here against Team Liquid. They'll also lock in the Xayah for Berserker. When they see a champion like LeBlanc that wants to go in, burst you down, they pick a champion that has its own get out of jail free card. Also going to give the rest of the team more ability to jump in and go after their own targets without having to worry about peeling and protecting that carry. Over back on the other side, would not be surprised at all to see the Wukong locked in.
No.
Yeah, Wukong is good, but I mean, it's also, it's interesting because when you see Xayah, you can go more non-committal and just commit more heavily to poke, which I think Xayah can struggle with because Xayah really does want to fight against champions that are going to hard commit, that are going to full send the dive, and Wukong is that.
So with the Wukong locked in there, that does mean Rakan goes back over to C9. They get to have the lovers duo there in the bottom lane. Also means that we're going to have different roles locked in the first half with mid laner, jungler, AD over on TL. Jungler, AD, and support on C9. So expect to see some mid bans from TL. Expect to see some support bans from C9, I would expect.
Yeah, first Rakan game of the split so far for Zven. I was also thinking that Zven so far has looked like a more complete support than in past splits. He's actually been in the position for a couple years now, so I think he's had time to really round out his skill set. And I feel like his Rel game and his Nautilus game have been quite strong, so I'm looking forward to seeing if he can find the angles once again on another engaged, non-pure enchanter champion.
Well, let's see. Well, they banned the Emilio away, so that's one of those pure enchanters that they
There you go, support king.
are not going to be up against. The Ahri banned out there. That is traditionally one of those picks that Harry always likes to lock in, but of course, you already pointed out you want to pick up the LeBlanc because you don't want to give it away, so they'll ban out the Ahri so they don't have to deal with that too.
It is interesting, right? Because now, like, a lot of those traditional mid lane picks with the Vi are gone. Because I would have said, oh, what about the Annie? But Cloud9's already banned that. The Ahri's already gone. You know, the Nico's going to be banned out, as it kind of always is. So a lot of those heavy lockdown champions, you kind of want point-and-click CC against LeBlanc to really be able to punish. So it'll be interesting to see where Emenes does take us, as he's going to be fourth pick, and then we're going to have Fudge pretty much guaranteed last picking for top to try to get counter pick against Summit.
There's one left, and it's Lissandra. You don't see it that often, but it's still a very strong pick against LeBlanc. But there's also the angle of going Tristana, just because double AD is getting more and more popular. Tristana mid is quite strong, and we literally saw the matchup last game. So I would think he'd go one of those two options, but we'll have to see.
Lissandra does currently have some buffs, but I believe they're on PBE, so they're not even on the live version of the game yet, and we're also still a patch behind on LCS. So it would definitely be the current not so hot version of Lissandra if they wanted to lock that one in, but C9 are quick to just go for their top lane instead.
I mean, to me, it's so funny because it's like you already see mid, right? So there's the only reason you pick this on 4 instead of going to 5 is as a denial pick.
Yeah, you think they'll take it,
right? You think that it's so important for Summit that you'd rather take this away instead of actually having counter pick here. And now we have to see, what does Summit have as the answer? Gnar is available. I mean, he's like the Gnar guy, man.
Yeah,
Pick Quinn.
And they're going to have mid counter pick regardless.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of they think Renekton is a better blind pick against Summit than it is to counter pick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it's you really want to take that away.
Because you know he would take Renekton.
Just,
He would just take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just going to play Gnar. That's my expectation. Like, he's been so good at Gnar for so long. This is such a common matchup. So I would not be surprised at all if it is just the Gnar, but instead, okay. So it is just going to be Ornn as the lockdown. So they're just going more for like a pure kind of 5v5 style comp. I do think Renata is going to make it really difficult for a lot of what C9 has drafted. I love it as a counter engage tool here. You have Rakan, you have Vi, you have Renekton, all looking to dive forward. And you have to deal now with that Renata ultimate, the hostile takeover that is going to make things so difficult here.
Now, hold on.
Oh, Zeri mid?
Oh, it's mid lane.
It's AP Zeri mid.
It's AP static Shiv Zeri mid. Wake me up inside, Isaac.
Come on, man. It's in a different role. You got to get excited.
This is new. She's just quirky, man.
No.
She just keeps showing up.
Wait.
Quirkies.
Give me a minute.
Why is the camera on us?
The camera's on you to see your immeasurable disappointment. There's only been one pick in on this patch in competitive of mid lane Zeri. I'll go back to 13-11. I'll check that as well because I am kind of curious to see. It had 4 picks. So between the last 2 patches, 5 picks globally. Now this is all leagues. So this is not like he's playing some meta thing. I did see a little bit of people experimenting with this quite a while ago, but last time I saw people experimenting heavily with it was pre-Zap nerf when it was like the AP one-shot W, which it is not that anymore. So it is kind of interesting, right? I guess the premise is similar to why you would pick like a Tristana or whatever into the LeBlanc, where you're trying to just get shoved, you're trying to kind of just constantly push him in. I don't know if it's gonna work. To be honest, I really like TL's comp way more.
Yeah. I think TL put together a very strong team comp.
Oh, it's electrocute even on the Zeri.
I just don't know about Summit's
made
Ornn. I was just looking at his win rates. He's played it. Of his 8 most played champions, Ornn has the lowest win rate, which is not too surprising with the way he plays, because when you have players like Summit, to me, that love to dominate lane and kill backline, they just try and play Ornn like a bruiser rather than like a spacing frontline engaged tank. So really, I agree with you, Azael. I love their team composition. I think they outscale. I think they have good balance of damage, but it's just a matter of does it match the way the players are going to be able to pilot it?
Yeah, I mean, and that is that question, right? But at the same time, double AD carry with no cleanse and 3 dive champs against Renata. Like, that is nightmare fuel. I play a lot of Renata, and this is about as good as it gets for comps to play into. The hostile takeover can just solo win a fight against this kind of composition.
Cloud9's comp is really weird.
I think it's really bad.
Yeah.
But this is what Cloud9 does. Fudge has even said in interviews before, they like to play like some of these fast, loose, goofy, like weird comps, and even normal comps, but just playing them super out of pocket just to see what they can get away with and limit test during regular season, especially when it's an 8-team playoff. He talked about like they know that they're going to get into playoffs, so they're going to experiment with stuff. And this right here, boys, this is, if I knew,
like Renekton Vi topside, Ornn should be able to neutralize this completely.
How do I do this?
Right, what are we looking at, Flowers?
Flowers is trying to use the
This
telestrator.
is an experiment.
Okay.
Experiment.
And you're going to point to Zoe.
Where?
Or Zeri.
Yeah, where is...
One of the Z champs. Okay.
There.
Yeah.
Well
That's
done.
what is happening in the current state of this game. Cloud9 is experimenting to figure out if this is something that now they're going to have to make everybody ban against them or consider in all the future drafts.
Well, and the reality is, even though I don't like the draft, we've seen so many times where Cloud9 have just straight up hands diffed teams, right? Where, and this is something that even who he was talking about when he was on here casting with me last week, was that sometimes Cloud9 just shows up and they just win a team fight that they're not supposed to win because they just out execute you, and then all of a sudden the game is over because they snowball better than everyone else, right? So that is the reality, is this team plays at such a high level in this league that they can just roll people over, sometimes even when they shouldn't be able to. So we'll see what TL has here.
And I also think that TL is playing much differently than they have in draft in most of their previous games. Like when they were blowing people out, it's because they were the ones hand-diffing their opponents, and I feel like they got into a habit of just picking exclusively for lane, where it feels like here, they've actually drafted for the team comp, so the roles are flipped, and they're still winning bot lane anyway.
Berserker forced to flash and ghost there very early with a nicely timed handshake from CoreJJ. Now he's level 1, going to go on that full retreat, and that also gives the opportunity for Pyosik to invade Blaber. He's going to find him there, just beat him over the head with that stick. Blaber's only got 300 HP left now, and his AD carry's back in base. Pyosik has help from CoreJJ rotating over. He'll steal this blue, no problem.
I mean, Berserker and Zven really mismanaged that. They were kind of just too far forward, right? It's a level 2 power spike. This is like the oldest kind of meme in the book, basically. You know, they hit 2 first, and they got a huge chunk on them. They forced both sums off Berserker. They forced the flash off Zven as well, and they didn't even expend a single flash. So it's not like it was some, as they're hitting 2, he flashed forward and caught you off guard. They just slowly walked up and killed you.
And hey, man, they're just slamming that wave into the turret, finding some nice poke in the meantime. Zven's still only at about half HP. Blaber's looking for maybe
Blaber's in struggle zone right
something
now.
here, but yeah, all he's really looking at is Pyosik stealing away his camps. If you're looking at Blaber's blue side quadrant, he got wolves and that's it. Pyosik took Gromp and blue.
I really don't think Blaber expected bot lane to go this way. Otherwise, he would have passed towards the Renekton, in my opinion, because then that blocks the ability for Pyosik to invade him. But once bot lane did go wrong, I think Pyosik just did a great job stealing 2 of his camps and really taking a lot of options away from Blaber. Oh, Zven, look out.
Zven has got to be careful on this one. They wanted to shove this wave up so they could try to make the dive happen there. Handshake. Oh, and they have Pyosik waiting. Nimbus strike for the first blood.
And now Berserker's probably in trouble as well. At the very least, he's going to have to run. We'll be able to survive, but that means all of the waves that are there are going to be denied. So it's another full wave denied. At least 1 more plate will go down. And you almost want to say that this game is pretty close to over. Like, it is so bad on the bottom side that bot lane 2v2 going this bad this early has completely screwed Blaber over. It has taken Berserker and Zven completely out of the game. Yeah. This is a game-ending mistake from Cloud9.
We're really going to have to see this Zeri pop off. And we haven't seen it before. I mean, that is... we heard someone talking about why you would join Team Liquid, like why he wants to play with CoreJJ. A lot of people would say because CoreJJ is just an amazing player who wins lane. That's what he's showing here, not necessarily because he roams top.
I mean, we're talking about a 1,000 gold lead, not even 5 minutes into the game, with only the single kill on the board. Like, Team Liquid's having an awesome early game here in this bottom side. Up in top lane, yeah, it's about a 1-wave lead for Fudge, but you would expect that with Renekton into Ornn. Mid lane's pretty close between Harry and Emenes. And then we're already talking about how the bottom lane disadvantage translated into problems for Blaber as well, losing out on those camps. He was able to get a little bit back, moving into his enemy's blue buff jungle, stealing that one away from Pyosik at least.
I will say, though, in terms of the actual AD carry difference, Jan didn't get a kill or assist. He's only about 300 gold up on Berserker at the moment, so somewhat surmountable if Berserker can hold off, cash in his call, and get to his items.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? He's 400 gold up right now. They did get the plate, so he didn't get the kill or assist, but that's still, you know, more than a kill worth of gold, and we're at 5 minutes into the game. So the question really becomes, can C9 stabilize? If you can stabilize from here and not give up more of an advantage, not have it snowball, then I don't think it matters, but this is the problem.
So the two levels matter a little bit, too.
Yeah, level 5 versus level 3 is not a fun matchup to play for the 3.
You know, it's 400 gold per stats, basically for base stats per level, and then you have 400 gold lead already. And then when you start thinking about it like that, all of a sudden it's like, okay, he actually has double his gold worth of base stats, right? Like, and that is really problematic. They also get access to the dragon. But again, if C9 can stabilize, if they can stall out the gold lead around this point, then it doesn't necessarily have to be game ending to what you're saying.
Dragon goes over the way of Team Liquid as well. 6.5 minutes into the game. That nice Hex Drake very early on. Useful stats for every champion that plays the game of League of Legends. Pyosik level 5 on the Wukong. Once he hits that level 6, I expect to see him continue to play aggressively, try to find more opportunities to scrap with Blaber, scrap around this bottom lane that's just been running the show the whole game. Scuttle Crab, he'll be the first on it, but C9 is ready to potentially reinforce for a challenge here. Nope, Smite's ready to go.
Oh, look.
Harry jumps in, forces the flash out of Blaber, but the chain is still attached. Chain number 2, Blaber. You didn't want to be there, buddy.
And this is all TL have to do, play around that advantageous bot lane. Cloud9 have got to pretty much, I think, abandon ship on bot and try to play cross map, try to do things on the top side. But it's going to be very difficult because it's an Ornn on the top side. It's not something that you can really attack.
Exactly.
And even if you put the Ornn down a bit, is that going to spell, you know, a win condition for your team? And that is what Cloud9 are going to have to problem solve here. It is good farm so far for Emenes. He is working towards Shiv. And we'll see. I mean, we've seen some pretty crazy stuff. Berserker had a Zeri game, I want to say it was last week, the AP Zeri game, where he legit was just eing in on people and popping his R and almost one-comboing them.
Yeah.
So you can get to that level. There's always a way to come back, but it's a brutal start here for Cloud9.
Yeah, I don't see a way of them salvaging this bottom lane because a lot of times when you have a Renekton comp into a matchup like Ornn, no, you can't necessarily like slingshot the game over the Renekton, but you can at least get top push and secure Rift Herald. But in this case, like their bot lane position is so bad, I think it's going to be really easy for Core JJ to just leave at certain points to go for Rift Herald. I don't even know if Cloud9 will be able to secure that side of the map with how broken bot lane is.
Nice little trade from Harry there on Emenes as well. The Zeri is the hope here because, you know, Vi's not been having a great early game. We've talked plenty about bot lane. Renekton has a massive lead, so Fudge is having a great time here in this 1v1. But again, I'm going to need to see some sort of big teleport into maybe a second Drake fight or something along those lines if they want to translate that somewhere outside of top lane.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I'm looking at. You know, if I'm Renekton in this game and I have an advantage top, you know you're not winning the game through 1v1, is they're going to look for Harry.
Harry gets found there by the Vi ulti, and Emenes guns him down before we can distort away. Nicely played from C9 to find their first kill of the game, but now Team Liquid's going to bring Pyosik bottom to look for a dive. There is no ulti available for Berserker or Zven, so they're going to use Cyclone 1 there to pop the Rakan. Berserker can disengage. He uses the Ghost, doesn't need the flash, but Team Liquid, they grab the kill on the support. They force the AD carry back. Now they're going to make their opponents lose even more waves. They're going to grab more plates. Summit's going in for the all-in on Fudge up here on the top side. Ornn forces out Dominus, trade of the ultis. Summit's just going to use that extra momentum to get this wave shoved up and then make a rotation of his own.
And the biggest problem is the fallout that we're not even watching in bot lane. That is a triple stacked, if not a quadruple stacked wave that Berserker is losing during all of this, right? So, you know, TL are playing so excellently around that big advantage they had on bot side. They know all they have to do, slow stack the wave, push it up, have Pyosik there as the wave crashes, and force the dive, right?
Yeah.
Push them back off of that wave and extend that advantage. Because, you know, when we checked in last time, it was a 400 gold difference between the two AD carries. Now it is well over 1,000 between these two AD carries, and we are only 9 minutes in here at this point. So, you know, richest in the game is Jan. He is looking really, really good. and Pyosik is very, very fed. Excuse me, Pyosik actually has the most gold now, and he's going to have his first item done very fast. And then when you get that early mythic done for Wukong, you're kind of just Thanos. Like, you are so strong in these early team fights.
Well, here's the thing I'm going to be looking at with this advantage for Team Liquid so far. I see a lot of pressure on Yon, because if this was reversed, if Berserker was the one who was super far ahead, go back to what we heard about from Huhi a couple of weeks ago, where he's just like, yeah, Berserker will always just win a fight, and then boom, you're taking over the game. So I want to see if Yon can have that same sort of success now that he's been set up for it. This is just another look at what happened in mid lane. Nice ulti there from the Vi, locks him down. Zeri bursts him before he can ever get away, and one more look at the bot lane dive.
Yeah, it's just, again, slow stack the wave, push it in. All the waves are crashing here at the same time. The next wave came in, they denied that as well. They take the first tower. They're extending a massive gold advantage. I mean, 2K is a good gold advantage at most times of the game. This is 10 minutes.
They got the first tower before their opponents got Rift Herald.
Yep.
That's how much momentum they have had there in that bottom lane. In that 2v2 that's honestly been more of like a 3v2 with Pyosik showing up and always helping them. But it was Yon and Core JJ that got those first advantages for themselves fair and square.
On the other side of it, at least Cloud9 got the Rift Herald.
Yeah, they got the Herald.
I didn't think they'd be able to, but they pulled off a good gank in the mid lane. They got the Rift Herald, so they've been able to stay a little bit in it. And honestly, just with the way we've seen these teams play,
Yeah.
Cloud9 can often just win fights when you don't think they're going to be able to because they're hand stiffing in fights. And sometimes Summit and Pyosik are in their own little world during team fights, and that first item Wukong is going to be killing Kruggies when you're trying to do a dragon fight. There could be something that goes wrong because the first 11 minutes of this game have been textbook for Team Liquid, but there's more than 11 minutes to the game.
Are you telling me that this doesn't feel like a 2.2 thousand gold lead?
So this actually does feel like a 2,000 gold lead, but it doesn't feel like a Nexus death.
Okay, all right.
Well, I can confirm the Nexus is in fact still alive.
Okay, we
so,
still got both Nexuses.
So check. It's also just going to be interesting to see how Emenes performs in the team fights on the Zeri, right? Obviously, this is going to be one of his only games that he's actually played on the pick. It has not been played a lot, but will he be able to really perform to level? Because if this is like Berserker, and Berserker is the guy that's ahead of the curve of the game on the Zeri, you have a lot of faith as a Cloud9 fan that he's just going to 1v5 the team fights and nothing else is really going to matter. But is Emenes going to be able to pilot to that same level? In his career, he does not have a lot of AD carry games. He has 2 Lucian games he's played, 1 Tristana game he's played. He has a few over the years, but not a tremendous amount by any means. Some Corki, but Corki kind of is a bit of a different beast. It's more like PokeChamp. So it'll be interesting to see how he actually pilots this. The early levels have gone good. They got that gank, he got the kill, he's up farm. So he's in a position where he can make things happen for sure.
I do feel like this AP Zeri build, though, also doesn't necessarily play like an AD carry. Like, it's almost like a different champion the way you pilot it, so...
You're an assassin.
A little bit, yeah. So I think...
carry.
And his laning has been strong on it.
Yeah.
So he definitely has a chance to succeed here.
He has a chance. He's either going to succeed or he doesn't.
50-50.
So that's 50-50 chance.
You win or you lose.
Yeah, 50-50
That's League
chance.
of Legends.
That's League of Legends right there.
Yeah. Just a good old League of Legends
old-fashioned,
experience.
honest game of League of Legends. You win or you lose.
Just like back in George Washington's time.
Yep, just as God intended.
George Washington didn't play Zeri.
No. It seems more like, what would he play,
I'm not touching that.
Good honest champ like Garen.
No, he would have been a Lumberjack Scion player so he could chop down the cherry tree.
Oh, okay, I like it.
That's why Lumberjack Scion was one of the first skins in the game.
Oh, okay.
Pyosik popping the Cyclone, going after Emenes and Zven, but not going to find a whole lot here. TL want to keep up this pace they've had. TL want to make sure they keep the pressure on C9. Don't allow these guys to scale up past the point where this gold lead becomes irrelevant.
And honestly, they haven't. The gold lead is shrunk. It's 1,000 less than it was a couple of minutes ago.
Yep.
Plates are about to fall. Yes, the bot lane turret fell, but that fell 4 minutes ago. And there's still pretty much, there's 5 plates in mid, and there were, I believe, 4 plates in the top lane. There's not massive advantages built up in CS, even if there is an AD carry gold. So Cloud9 did do a very good job weathering the storm.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, Zven is so poor. Like, he is 1,200 gold behind
He's got no
other
money.
support.
And who cares? He's just a little support. So
Yeah,
really,
true.
on the people that matter, the gold's even.
Because 1,000 of the gold
True.
lead is
I see what you're saying. It might be problematic that Berserker's down with supports, but yeah, I mean, I think that one of the big advantages here, though, is that it is a Mountain Soul and that you have 2 Drakes already, and that TL are really going to be set up well to fight.
Next Drake is big.
The next Drake is really big. I mean, imagine you get to that point where you have Mountain Soul. Cloud9's comp is very upfront with their damage. It's very much about this initial dive and the engage. That's going to be really a nightmare to deal with. I even think on even terms, I really favor the comp that TL have drafted. So we'll see what C9 can really get done. I think it's got to have to be some clever engage, some sort of a flank coming through from Fudge and Zven. One thing working for them, there is no cleanse on Yon, right? So if you can actually get on this guy, lock him down, File comes in, all of a sudden Renekton flashes on your face, he sends you up after, you die 100 to 0. Well, the gold lead doesn't really matter to them.
Are we gonna get a fight here? Harry jumps in, a little bit of poke on Zven, but he just walks it off. They're not gonna full commit on a Rakan like that. Herald is up. Do we get a fight for it? Harry's the only one hanging around here in the river right now as Fudge is farming between turrets here in bot lane. Does have the Unleashed teleport ready to join up with any fight. Everybody except Emenes has those teleports up and ready to go. Honestly, all summoner spells besides that Zeri TP are ready to fire here. So the next fight could be very hectic. For JJ, he flashes back underneath the turret to bring the Vi with him. This is one of the problems with Vi. You're in, and you're all in. And now Blaber's all out. Pyosik looking for another attack now with a Cyclone 2 getting cast. The Ornn Horde from downtown as Pyosik chases after Berserker and gets another one. Team Liquid exfiltrate the hot zone, losing only 1 and finding 3 from Cloud9.
That could have been so much worse. It looked like Yon was going to die for sure. It looked like Harry was going to die for sure. But TL just went too far. Like, they could have just taken the early kills, gotten a Herald guaranteed, set up for the Dragon, and kind of ran away with this game. They got really hyphy after that initial kill. Pyosik diving in under the tower. I don't think they needed to go that far.
I think this is just how these teams want to play League of Legends. So Blaber goes in, the flash, engage fails, the fight is over. I completely agree. Blaber's dead, free Rift Herald, set up Drake, but TL always wants more. Pyosik, he said it himself, he is a big game hunter. And this is some big game under the turret that he's going for.
Yeah, but look at Yon. Like, how that is close. I mean, it's a good flash, it's a good bailout, but Guardian procced, heal came down, and he lived with like 10 HP before he got that flash.
Calculated.
If he flashes over and the bailout has procced, he's in trouble. Summit.
He's got a lot of health.
Oh,
nice
beautifully done there. Yeah. Bellows Breath buffers for the initial knockup. It's very hard to kill him. He is Ornn.
Yep.
That's the thing that Cloud9 forgot. Their opponent was playing Ornn, and killing him is much more difficult than it may initially appear. Harry versus Emenes back in the river.
Normally when someone's in a dub spot, he dies because he doesn't have as much Ornn.
Brilliant.
Right, yeah.
So this could be a good future.
They get the Dragon now, almost guaranteed, you have to think, because that was flash. That was a lot of cooldowns expended. And they did get chunked low. Yes, Ornn did not have TP to rejoin, but they're going to grab the Dragon. So they move themselves to Soul Point. They do grab that Mountain, and they're on the precipice of getting Mountain Soul now.
Nicely done from Team Liquid. And honestly, props over to Pyosik, quietly sitting on 5 out of 6 kill participation, just feeling awesome with the Wukong this game.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, I feel like that last play by Cloud9 was more devastating than the lost fight in mid lane. Because the lost fight in mid lane is just, 1,500 gold, 500 gold difference. This was losing the third dragon when their items were actually competitive enough to fight with proper setup. So they completely blew that away, and now they're up against Soul Point.
And another neutral objective going the way of Team Liquid here. Only that first Herald has gone the way of C9 so far. TL gonna back away from the objective. They want the fight instead. They're going for the Ornn Horn. They immediately pop Fudge. And with that enemy frontliner down, C9's gonna have to find a better angle. Blaber goes back over the wall, but Team Liquid's still ready to fight it. Pyosik's traded away. It's gonna be 1-for-1 thus far. There comes the hostile takeover, but it ain't gonna take over anything.
Grab the
Blaber and Zven just walk away. Eyeball's sitting on the floor. Somebody get the eyeball. 5-second rule. Don't leave it on the floor.
That's way more than 5 seconds. Don't pick that up now. It's gross.
Oh, no, it's all nasty and it melted into goo.
Yeah, someone needed to go back and pick that up. They could have made themselves in over chasing again. A little bit unfortunate, but at the end of the day, they do at least get the local gold. They do get a kill for themselves, but was just a 1-for-1 trade, right? And they don't pick up the eye, so it's kind of a slight advantage there.
TL are who they are, man. When you present them with the champion to kill, they're just going to go for it. There's nothing they can do to stop
They're just going to go for it? They kill him or they don't. 50-50 chance.
Yeah, Rift Herald. What's Rift Herald? There is a Renekton in the river.
Rift Herald is not a champion. They already killed it. They already asserted dominance over the Rift Herald.
Coach, his health bar is red and he's on my screen.
All right, well, they do something about it. They do finish it. Yon starts moving towards it, but then they're like, well, the rest of the team is going forward, so you can't really blame them at this point for piling in and looking for the fight. But Blaber gets out. Someone needed to turn around instantly at this point, especially. Like, the fight is really over, but I think everyone probably thought someone else got it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, that's not my job. Someone's gonna get it. It's fine.
I mean, I thought somebody got it until you said, somebody go get the eyeball.
I can't leave eyeballs on the ground, man. That's gross.
Unlucky for that one, but hey, Cloud9's at least a little bit happy with it because it is everything except that first Herald going Team Liquid's way so far. 2,000 gold lead. The big story right now is that next Drake, just under 3 minutes from now, if TL gets it, it's Mountain Soul. It's a huge power spike.
And imagine if they had a Herald to drop down right when that was spawning. That would make the setup so much more difficult for Cloud9, right? If Cloud9 didn't want to respond, they lose towers mid. But TL are saying, screw that. We're just going to rush the Baron here. Cloud9 are aware now that they know something is going on. They have to.
This is a YOLO play from Team Liquid. Zven and Blaber are coming around trying to check and see what's going on. The Baron's down to 3,000 HP. Hostile takeover over the wall. It finds Blaber. He's locked down, but they ain't bursting it hard enough just yet.
No.
They slay the Baron. Blaber goes back over the wall. What's he doing with my ulti? He just killed himself. What on earth was the timing there? Team Liquid get the cake with a cherry on top.
And now the game, I feel like, is blown open. That was the last-ditch effort for Blaber. They were too slow to that.
Uh-oh.
They're still pushing for more.
Ornn finds Berserker. Pyosik bonks him over the wall there with a crushing blow. Zven ready for a counterattack with a grand entrance, but the quickness only finds him a quick demise. Fudge now trying to pick something up, but Summit's so tanky here on the front line. Yon can follow up with a little bit more fire, and Team Liquid won't lose a man. They'll pick up another kill for free.
And Harry wasn't even there. Harry's pushing top lane. He's already taken down the tier 2. Mountain Soul is up here in a minute and a half, and TL are looking really good to take another win against Cloud9.
Yeah, so remember before, Flowers, when you asked me how big the gold lead felt?
Yes.
It is feeling bigger than even 6,000 at the moment, with how like almost tilted Cloud9 looked in that play. They
How big?
just
Can you
lost
fit the gold
Baron.
lead in one hand?
This is close to me saying that Nexus is the goal.
Okay.
Like, I'm getting there. I'm getting ready to call this game just because even from the draft,
Mentally
it looked
prepared.
like an experimental draft. And I also feel like when you're in a mindset of we're doing this kind of quirky thing, the other team is clearly not. That's like the most stock standard team comp you could possibly see from Team Liquid on the left, and it's not working. Obviously, you're on stage, so you're trying to win, but there's a small part in the back of your brain that's just saying, get me out. So they're trying to make the comeback happen because I don't think there's a path backwards that isn't desperation.
I mean, the funny thing is, we'll see if they can actually catch Harry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all right. Team Liquid just gives a free one away there. Cloud9, nice job on the pick, but now they got to get away afterwards. Blaber killed in response. Fudge locked up with a hostile takeover into the Cyclone. Pyosik still looking to push this one forward. Zven goes into the back and finds the targets, but Fudge cannot complete the kill on Yon. He's only re-engaged into another death and a double kill for the Aphelios. As Team Liquid starts off losing their mid laner, they get 3 back in return. Pyosik and Core JJ maybe looking for a chance to grab Emenes here as well, as Summit summons up the Ornn. Emenes using the flash to get away. Nice job there juking, but Cloud9 doesn't have the men to fight for this Drake now, and that means 23-minute Mountain Soul.
Yeah, the Soul is gone. TL have a good read. Yeah, you lost Harry, but if you're spending a lot of resources to kill one, the gold lead is so massive, they are going to be able to win in the 4v5, and the positioning was good here. The TP comes in. Harry is being surrounded pretty much by all sides, sees that Blaber's above him, distorts back, sees that Emenes is already TP'd, comes in here, Fudge is TP'd there, Zven is already waiting, but look at the angle here. It's so difficult to fight in this corridor. Core JJ with a really good handshake there. The hostile takeover comes in across multiple members. Emenes has to run. He has no cleanse, he has no QSS, so you can't stand and fight.
I think with the Mountain Soul completed, Cloud9 is going to move to 6-2. And Team Liquid will probably move to 5-3. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. Obviously, we're still in the game.
Still
we're still watching
50-50 chance. You win or you lose.
I do wonder, though, if this is going to be something that Team Liquid continues to do based on the results of this game. Like, will they pick more stock standard team compositions? Because honestly, this is a much different draft than we've seen from them for most of the split.
I mean, I don't know. It's really weird, right? Because you can say, like, on both sides, it's like Cloud9 are doing this Zeri experiment, and that's why they lost. Well, not really. The Zeri did well. Their bot lane just trolled 2v2.
The standard bot lane.
Exactly, right? And at the same time, it's like, you know, TL, I think, played a good game, but also their opponents really griefed the 2v2. Like, let's be honest, this was a Berserker and Zven loss here in that 2v2, and that's nothing else after it has really mattered that much.
Yeah, it's like we saw the tweet of the Zeri experiment is going wrong, but like it's going wrong because like someone spilled Coke in the test files. Like,
and it wasn't Zeri.
Yeah, there's no way to know if the Zeri's 2-0-2 up 12 CS. Like it's doing fine, but the game is a mess.
Oh, he flashes, he dashes, he survives. The LeBlanc gets away. little bit of sleight of hand there. And now, without ulti, Blaber is a melee minion. The Vi is 0-4. This champion, being a bruiser-type champion, being a champion that can only go in, when you're behind on Vi, it feels terrible. It's like, okay, my job is to try to get an ulti, set it up, and trade 1-for-1. And now that the ulti's been spent, there's not really an effective role he can play. Team Liquid's feeling confident to step forward and look to knock down their second inhibitor of the game. The mid lane inhibitor was already taken. Top lane inhibitor on the menu now. They can just step away from those zaps. Very important to dodge those when you're up against the AP Zeri. They're going to hurt a lot more than they would in the traditional marksman playstyle. All right, C9, their backs are all the way through the wall. They've been thrown out onto the lawn, and it's Team Liquid looking to keep them out there.
Might be another Vi loss for Blaber as well.
Yeah, it's just not working out, man.
Yeah.
But it's so unjust, you know? It's like, can you blame the Vi here? Come on, man. He lost his whole bottom quadrant because his bot lane was like instantly screwed.
Yes, but he could have pathed towards the Renekton. I do think there's a chance.
Oh, come on. You're not going to the game saying, I'm going bot to top this game because my bot lane's going to run it down at level 1.
Look, man.
Well, no. You're going bot to top because you want to invade the Wukong. Right? With your Renekton pressure, maybe.
Yeah.
I love Blaber as a player, but as the president of the Vi Haters fan club, get rid of Vi. Play more
Vi is really
Skarner.
good. Like globally, it's like the most picked and banned jungler in the world.
Yeah, I know, but I know
strong
statistically it's very strong, but my gut just says no. So
You don't feel that Vi is one of the strongest.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like
it's because we keep watching Blaber play
the tier list and the stats say
He's played it like
that it's
6
really
times.
good.
Leave the man alone.
He doesn't even have enough games on it to be good. No, I'm done. I'm not going to go further on this. I'm trolling.
All right. We're all done clowning on the Vi pick for now, but honestly, it's been a really good showing from the bottom lane of Team Liquid, from the jungle of Team Liquid. Summit's been having some really solid Ornn ultis throughout these mid-game fights as well, and Harry's doing his job providing some of that poke, just jumping in and out on the LeBlanc. Everybody's been playing this standard composition like we've been talking about very well.
Yep.
And now they're in control over the whole Rift. They've got the Soul already. They've got plus 8,000 gold, and the Baron just spawned again. C9 can't go anywhere near this.
Definitely not. I think it's Baron to attempting to end. They might slow play it a little bit and do Baron Elder, but I think they're definitely going to be either just trying to do a little like 4-1 split push to get both waves in at once, or go for the third inhibitor. But if they get enough damage on a Zven, they're just going to try and push to end.
Yeah, Zven is not having a great game this time around. 0-7-3. Half of the total deaths on Cloud9 are Zven's Rakan. They've just picked him off multiple times. They've focused the bot lane early. That loss in the 2v2 that we've been talking about on C9's side has just not done him any
Look
favors.
at that CSD.
Wow. Yeah.
He's 12 up.
He is plus 12 on farm, so 2 whole minion waves ahead. You got to keep that one in mind.
TL looking like they're about to close this one out. Going to be able to break the loss streak here. Has been a good game. Zven going to go in.
Zven's ready, but he's already gone berserk. They're finding plenty of damage on him. Pyosik kills Berserker, and that should be the end of the game right there. Blaber gets focused. No dice to the ulti. Yawn survives, fires off the Moonlight Vigil as Summit just runs over Fudge and turns him into alligator roadkill. Emenes dashes right back into the base, and he and Zven can do nothing but look on as Cloud9 are handed their second loss of the split from Team Liquid.
And Team Liquid actually steamroll Cloud9. From minute 1 in the bottom lane, they took over. Yawn ends 309, Core ends 3012. Summit played a tank and was completely fine. Nothing went wrong. Nothing exploded. Maybe he'll do it again.
It was the great early game from Team Liquid that we saw so much in spring, and without the random throws in the big game. What you were talking about, jungler doing some cruggies, like everybody goofing off when you're supposed to fight? No, everybody was on the same page. I specifically want to shout out Core JJ. His handshakes early on in the laning phase were what won the 2v2. Him flashing back underneath the turret in mid lane to bait Blaber in for that kill, ended up doing a lot. His hostile takeovers were well placed in fights too. Even if they didn't hit anybody, they forced everyone on C9 back far enough to guarantee that TL could focus fire the guys they wanted. I think Core and Pyosik were really the stars of the show here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You have to give so much credit to the TL bot lane. You can talk about C9 mistakes, but they're the ones who force those mistakes. They're the ones that capitalize on those mistakes. And Berserker and Zven are looked at as the strongest 2v2 in the league right now, and they dominated them, right? And then Pyosik really coordinated well with that bot lane to slam home that lead. That was going to be the biggest hurdle for them. Once they had that early game advantage, it was just going to be about, can they push that forward? And they did it so incredibly well. Slow slow stacking the waves, setting up the dives, making sure that Berserker and Zven never had a way back into this game at all. TL played a really clean one, break the losing streak, take down what was one of the top teams in the league. Well, still tied, I guess. Well, half a game back.
Team Liquid moves to 5-3. Cloud9 moves to 6-2. It's incredibly competitive between the two of them. 1 game off. Also, Cloud9's got EG tomorrow, who's currently sitting at 6-1, might be 7-1 depending on the results that we see later. So a bit of a surprise. I think there was a massively favored fan prediction for Cloud9. I know all 4 analysts in the lounge predicted Cloud9, but Team Liquid,
I think everybody did.
They came to play and they broke the streak.
Yeah, Team Liquid, it's wild sometimes. You're on Mr. Liquid's wild ride, where yesterday they give up the first win of the split to the team that had no wins coming into week 3. And then today they go up against one of the teams tied first top of the chart and they beat them. And they absolutely wipe the floor with them. So if Team Liquid can just find a little bit more of that consistency, like we've been talking about since the beginning of the year all the way back in January, they're really scary when they're on.
That's always been the name of the game for Liquid. We know that these are 5 incredibly talented individuals that they can all, at times dominate a game, take over a lane, really make good things happen. And if they can find that consistency, they're clearly good enough to be at the top of the table.
On the flip side, though, Cloud9's shown a lot of inconsistency, right? Because the loss to Energy and now the loss to Team Liquid are pretty bad losses. If you look at the game itself, they weren't that close. So even though they've had some dominant wins, they need to clean that up.
All right, and with that game done, a reminder to cap off a month of Pride. The LCS invites you to join us tomorrow to celebrate. Fans in attendance can party with us after the show with food trucks, giveaways, a tie-dye station, and more. But now, with that second game of the day all taken care of, we're going to send it over to Harry and Pioshik at the LCS Lounge for the Verizon post-game interview.
Oh, okay. Whatever you want.
Welcome. We are joined by the victorious Harry and Pioshik. Woo! Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Obviously, you were on a bit of a loss streak, and now you beat, one of the top teams in the league. So just talk to me about what your prep went going into this game.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny because today, Rainover, our head coach, told us for some reason he thinks we're going to smash C9 today. And then it kind of happened. So I thought that was pretty funny. And I think our champions were just super comfortable. Like, I'm very comfortable on LeBlanc. Pioshik's really good on Wukong. I guess Summit not on Ornn, but also young special champions like Aphelios, I think. So, yeah, we were super comfortable and super confident today for some reason.
Okay.
His Ornn looked pretty good. You might get him on Ornn some more now.
We think the same.
So I'm going to have you explain this to Pioshik because we feel like we don't know you two that well, right? So we're going to veer into a little bit of a fun interview. Okay. And we're going to ask you guys some weird questions. Okay. And we'll see what your answers are. We have a questionnaire that you two filled out previously. So I don't know if you want to tell Pioshik what's going on so he knows.
우리 알아가는 겸 약간 재밌는 질문들 몇 개 준비했다고. 오케이. 근데 그 스프링 때 이미 그 형이 대답한 건데 그걸 다시 이제
Okay. First question is going to go to Pioshik, actually. Okay. The question was, do you have any pets? What are their names? And you wrote Harry. Can you explain to Harry? You might want to just explain to Harry anyways.
형한테 그 펫이 있냐고 물어봤는데 형이 그 답글로 이제 제 이름을 적었다고. 그 이유가 있냐?
이제 해리가 되게 캥거루를 닮았어요. 그래서 저만의 캥거루 펫이에요.
So because I'm Australian, he likes to call me kangaroo, and then because I'm a kangaroo, he views me as his pet, I guess. So.
Okay, I thought it was like a gameplay thing. Not about the jungle. All right. Question for you. Okay. You said favorite anime, Attack on Titan.
Oh yes.
Have you read the manga ending?
I know how it ended. But I didn't read the manga. I saw a YouTube video about.
Spoiled it?
Yeah, I spoiled it myself. But I think the biggest impact was when I watched the first season. I think the first season had the biggest impact of an anime I watched. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Follow up for Pioshik. You said One Piece favorite anime. Why is it better than Attack on Titan?
원피스가 왜 진격의 거인보다 더 재밌냐?
One Piece is 낭만이 있다.
낭만. It's like 낭만이. I don't know the translation. 낭만.
남자들의 그 로망을 자극한다. 그 꿈을 자극한다.
It's like hope and dreams for men.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Mine's going to be really weird.
Okay.
If you punch yourself in the face and it hurts,
Yeah.
are you really strong or really weak?
Okay, I'll ask him.
Yeah.
만약에 이해했어? 오케이.
그 내 스스로 때리면 아플 것 같냐 안 아플 것 같냐.
그게 아니라 스스로 때리면 내가 강한 건가 아니면 내가 약한 건가?
I think 두 개 다인 것 같다.
I'm going to go with I'm the strong one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like you
All
beat
right.
yourself up.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'm strong.
You have any other follow-up?
I guess a final quick one is that there was a question, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized Tyler 1s or one Tyler 1-sized duck?
Okay.
You guys actually disagreed. You would rather fight 100 duck-sized Tyler 1s, whereas Pioshik would rather fight one Tyler 1-sized duck.
Okay.
Why?
그러니까 질문 그 타일러 1 누군지 알아요?
알아.
그 우리 100마리 사이즈 타일러 1을 싸울 것이냐 아니면 그 한 마리의 타일러 1 사이즈인 그 오리를 싸울 거냐 했는데 형은 그 한 마리의 그 오리를 싸운다 했거든요. 그 이유 있어요?
어차피 그 100개의 개체를 나는 못 이길 것 같으니까 차라리 한 사람한테 맞는 게 100명한테 맞는 것보다 나을 것
He
같아.
thinks he can't beat 100 duck talons anyway, so he might as well try to fight the
winning battle?
Yeah, the winning battle.
I got you.
I think I changed my answer as well. I don't think I can beat 100.
Yeah.
Little Tyler 1s punching your ankles.
I'm on Pioshik's side because 100 of them would just be too many.
I think it's too many to take on, so I'll go with the one.
All right. Thank you both so much
Thank you.
for enduring this interview. Harry in particular, thank you so much
no
for
problem.
translating. And on the other side of the break, we have Dignitas versus TSM coming up next.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And now Blaber's all out. Pioshik looking for another attack now with a Cyclone 2 getting cast. The Ornn Horde from downtown as Pioshik chases after Berserker and gets another one. Team Liquid exfiltrate the hot zone, losing only one.
Oh no.
Yeah, all right. Team Liquid just gives a free one away there. Cloud9, nice job on the pick, but now they gotta get away afterwards. Blaber killed in response. Fudge locked up with a hostile takeover into the Cyclone. Pioshik still looking to push this one forward. Zven goes into the back and finds the targets, but Fudge cannot complete the kill on Yawn. He's only re-engaged into another death and a double kill for the Aphelios.